At this point, Violet spoke up. She'd just been listening to the conversation, but she said, "You know that speaker that you found so bizarre? I know him only too well. His name is Essex Tatus Crow." So status quo was pretty darn close. A lot of people say status quo, but anyway, it's ironic because the way he thinks seems to kind of fit that idea. But anyway, it I can't just laugh him off. And now Elaine or Violet told him about the fact that she was going to have to face him at a hearing on Monday in Richland, and that he was accusing her of assault with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. you know, and Omar said, "What? What's he thinking?" And she said, "I don't know. He's just such a strange man." But I was served papers. Well, you sort of know the story, but she explained I was served papers. I'm going to have to go to a hearing. The judge is a man named Judge Goodman, and that's why Edgy's here, because in my distress I called him, and he came all the way from Boston. It's actually Beaver Plain is the name of where he's from, but from near Boston. He came all the way down. And now, I don't need to tell you all this stuff again because you kind of know, but she explained about the Catalase 6, and she told what it was that made Tatus think that this was a justifiable accusation. And Omar was horrified. He said, "Well, I hate going into the city, but I'm going to go there. It's public, right? This is a public hearing." And she said she thought so. It was Monday at 11 o'clock at the courthouse. He said, "Well, I'll be there because I don't particularly want to see the guy again because he was so disgusting. But this is too strange." And Violet said, "Well, thanks. I've got a good friend, Tira. She's going to be there too. She hates the man. I mean, she genuinely hates this guy because of the way she was a teacher, and the way he managed to block an effort of the students. My son was a leader of them to create a museum, the Ethno. Have you heard of it?" And Omar said, "Oh yeah, that's really exciting. I've heard good things about it." And some of the stuff I'm just telling you. No, I guess you don't know about that. That was in the first book. Well, he managed to put that off for about 20 years, the effort, because he just didn't like it. And so Tira, she really hates the man. She's going to be there too. Omar said, "Well, that's pretty amazing." Well, while this was going on, things were picking up. Theirs was not the only conversation. Friday was a busy night at the Moot Point, and Omar was experiment. The whole thing was an experiment, but he was also experimenting with the music. There was music in the background, and he thought he'd like to try to do it almost like an old-time jukebox, or jukebox, where the clientele could choose their music, and and that way they'd get all kind of different music. And he was experimenting with it, but he also had his own, and he had a classical bent, and he had some music on there called, or what he had on there was a piece of Baroque music, George Frederick Handel, one of his concerti grossi, well, all of his concerti grossi. He just had it on there kind of running in the background, and it was having a strange effect on the people. Most of them weren't in the custom of listening to Baroque music, and it was, but they were liking it, and it was getting them all psyched up, and it was coming to one of the allegros. I don't know which concerto grosso it was, but one of the allegros was a real lively thing in triple time, and things were really getting wild. And then all of a sudden, it stopped. It went silent, and they all heard, and that everyone stopped their conversations, and they all heard this woman's voice going, "Oh, I'm a very sad barmaid." It was Elaine, and she was just being so busy, and it was all so hectic that she'd gone and pulled the plug, and she just started to sing her heart out about how it was so hectic. "Oh, I'm a very sad barmaid. My boyfriend went away," and she's making this up. She had no accompaniment. She was just singing, going around singing, and she was, then after a while she started to sing about the clientele. She was serving beer the whole time. I don't know. She herself, I don't think, knew where that came from. It's just kind of just from her heart, and it hushed all the conversations, and everybody started to listen to Elaine sing this spontaneous song. They'd never heard anything quite like it. And so she probably went on for 15 minutes and could have gone on longer. But then after a while, she went over and plugged the music back in, and things picked up again. But she had ended up calming the storm. This is an interesting experience.